Hey, IDS 302 Session B. How you doing today? It's Sunday morning here in the 480. It's a little bit chilly for us. If you're in other parts of the country, I apologize, not to be snarky, but yeah, it's like only in the 60s right now. Um, so, hey, here we go. Module 5. All right. I forgot to put in my Easter eggs on Easter, so I guess I'll just wing that. Oh, the irony. It's kind of like getting my new license plate for my Jeep, personalized ASU plate that is TRA, no, yeah, TRAVLR, Traveler, and yet going nowhere, right? Someday, again, we'll do this. Hey, I just finished watching the Andrea Bocelli live concert on YouTube with 2.7 million people live. Pretty amazing. From Milan, Italy, and we need all the uplifting inspiration we can get. So happy Easter to those who celebrate this holiday, and let's move on. Um, have you noticed some of the things in the news lately? Um, that relate to maybe your topics, your questions, or your curiosity. For example, I've been seeing this picture of Los Angeles and other parts of the world, big cities where the air has cleared up in many places. It's really amazing. I think water obviously is doing the same thing. I find it interesting, ironic, and maybe a tad um, sad or cynical that as we go through this global disaster, if you want to call it that, because it's reminiscent of floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, and such, and yet it's affecting us. But nature is just cruising through the spring, right? It's pretty interesting the things that the way the world is changing in front of our eyes. Well, I've seen articles on the air pollution. I think I saw one from about New Delhi where they have had their range of scores they look at in the morning about the quality of air or lack of it. And it's supposed to be, I guess, around 30 or under. And they typically live in the 200 range. And it's gone as high as 900. And it has been off the charts, meaning that just the air that they're breathing is toxic. Lately, the air quality index has been under 20. That's amazing, and it probably tells us something about our future. And it means, in an interdisciplinary sense, how much more thinking and innovation is going to be required to move ahead in a way that we're not singled out by nature to be eliminated, right? Okay, so um, the annotated bibliographies, again, I don't know if I talked about it last week, but they were really good, very good for the most part. You really used peer-reviewed sources. I like that. That's what we got to have. Um, what's the intention of that? We'll get into that as I talk about the final paper in a little while. Um, Also, I wanted to note tonight, April 12th, there's two things due tonight, and it's interesting because typically I stagger my due dates, and I don't. I've gotten complaints about that in the past. Why doesn't he make things due on Sunday? Just make them due on the last day. Well, this is a reason. I just think I'm giving you a lot to do for the final day, and many people are natural procrastinators. And if you waited to take on your survey and your survey topic, as well as the other assignment, which was, oh, the pick one, a little writing, um, you're backing yourself in a corner. So I'd like to make sure you do have proper time management Well, I encourage it. It's not always possible, I understand. So, coming into Module 5, there's not a lot here. I only have 4 different entries. The video here, the learning materials, very brief, discussion 5, and Tanner step 4. There's a lot of writing in this module, and I'd like you to make sure you have time to do that writing without a lot of distractions from this class. Okay, so let's talk about also about minimums. Okay, I had a discussion with my son, who's a student at ASU, and he disagreed with me slightly, but understood where I was coming from. For example, on the annotated bibliography, I did stress that there was a minimum of 2 sources per discipline used. If you did the minimum, you can't get a perfect score or a high score, right? Isn't that logical? The minimum is the minimum, as in a minimum is a C, right? In grading systems. So just be careful of that whenever you see minimum from me or anyone else, because it's not like that's what we want you to do. It's the minimum, okay? So think about how we use that term in real life. Do the minimum, you know? Ah, so, okay. All right. The survey, I hope you're coming along good with that. I look forward to seeing those links. I think I switched it to a discussion board format so that you can go in and click on your peers' surveys and participate. Typically, I would send out lists of links, but I feel that you can take part in that, and I don't have to do that, sending that out because they're going to be posted. I'll do every one of them when I score them, and then we'll go from there. Try to get, like I said, as many responses as you can. Remember, it's 18 and over only, no young people. All right, and remember to break your demographics up later. We'll talk about that. Okay, how does that survey fit in these steps? Well, I'm trying to do an integrative research process, I guess. Remember, we talked about interdisciplinary studies is a field. Um, I always say interdisciplinary equals integration. Integration equals interdisciplinary, but I did put that caveat that interdisciplinary studies is a field, integrative is a process. It's integrative thinking, integrative research. It's more about a process, okay? Let's do Easter egg number 1. Let's just say Easter egg, okay? Because of what today is, I better make sure I write that down. Easter egg number 1 is Easter egg, or plural, I don't care. Excuse me. All right, so looking at this overall project, steps 1 and 2 were when you asked those questions. You talked about your problem, your statement of what you were going to research, and you asked interdisciplinary questions of yourself, basically, of the topic, right? Step 3 was the annotated bibliography. That's when you're gathering materials, gathering the previous research, things that have been done before you. I talked about research being a tag off to the next. And I have 2 classes. I'm sorry if I'm being redundant, and I also sorry if I'm missing anything because I've discussed this, where research basically is just building on previous research. It's all it is, and the next research will come. So you, in a sense, as a researcher, you always look back and see what's been done on your topic, your question before you. And then you analyze that and you see how it relates. Does it support your hypothesis? Does it challenge it? Okay. How does that inform your current study? All right. By the way, side note, remember to keep yourself out, right? No I, me, my, unless I really specifically ask you to enter the equation. All right, so steps 1 and 2. Step 3, annotated bibliography. Now, step 4 is going to be part of this module. Step 3 is gathering your data. The survey is gathering your data, because I did advise that to do actual research means to gather data, to have some new data. or to use the old data and find something new in it. Because that's too difficult a task in a short period of time, an undergrad class and an interdisciplinary one where people have many backgrounds and topics, we want to use that data from a quantitative survey to help create this research project. So let me move forward let me just talk about the discussion board next. Okay, sorry, let me put a pin in the paper. Talk about discussion 5. Okay, the instructions are thorough, I think. There's an attachment there, a Word doc. It's 49 pages, but it's mainly just a list for about 48 of them. Okay, that list is a list. It's not exhaustive, but it is exhausting. It is fields of study, disciplines, if you will. I would like you to scan through that. I would like you to notate, write down whichever one of those resonates with you, either with your research project or personally, professionally, academically, and think of it again as academic work, scholarly work, okay? I want you to have those defining lines of academia and scholarship, okay? If it's studied in a field, there's plenty of things that we can have interests in and such, and those are fine. And you could probably extrapolate those into some disciplines that are there. Take a look. Use the official disciplinary title. Capitalize disciplines. Okay. Now, I want you to look at that list, notate ones that are interesting to you and resonate with you in such a way. And then I want you to write about those, okay? I have here, I'd like to see a minimum of 250 words. It's up to 50 points. It's kind of a paper, but I want you to submit it on a discussion board because I'd like you to be able to see other people's work. And I'd like you to know that other people are going to look at your work. It helps to inform us, get some context, helps to become a better thinker, an interdisciplinary thinker. You do not have to respond to anyone. Okay, it's not a requirement, but it is open for that to discussion forum. Must use paragraphs here. I bolded that in the instructions. I will ding you. I don't want to read one big slam of 250 words. I understand indenting is kind of tedious in a discussion board. So here I'm going to allow you to gap it. Give me a line gap. Give me a chance to catch my breath. Give the reader a chance to read it in a good flow. Okay? Appreciate that. That is the discussion board. Okay? Now we get to step 4, which is going back to that paper discussion I talked about. By the way, let's do Easter egg number 2 right away. And that is going to be, number 2 is capitalize disciplines. Okay, now that does not mean to capitalize the word discipline. It means when you talk about chemistry, big C chemistry. Okay, when you talk about music in a sense of academic scholarship, not, hey, what kind of music you listen to today? Music is capital M, right? Okay, you guys got that by now, right? And gals, everybody has that. Okay, so steps 1 and 2, the questions. Steps 3, the annotated bibliography. In between there, we're doing that survey. It's gone out. Step 4 now is going to be a paper. This is all one big paper, by the way. Steps 1, steps 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. You're going to put it all together. It's going to be about, I'd say, at least 10 to 20 pages, right? Scary? Okay, so step 4 is time to critically analyze common disciplinary insights and patterns of connections with your work. This is where I'd like you to take your previous work, not the survey results, okay, but I'd like you to look at the annotated bibliography, those sources you used. It's time to read some of those a little more thoroughly. Try to find out how do these resonate with your study, the current study, okay? So to do that, the organization of this paper that I would recommend that I'll be looking for, and who am I? Because by the way, this is worth 120 points. It's huge, okay? The score. So how I would do it is maybe like the first section of your paper should be hypothesis and assumptions, okay? Maybe, a page of that. What I'd like you to do is go back to steps 1 and 2, kind of coalesce that together and, talk about what your topic is. What are you thinking about that topic? Try to keep yourself out of it, though. That's the challenge. I don't want you to say, I'm thinking about this topic. No. Okay. Climate change. Climate change is a important topic today because blah, blah, blah. Climate change has been neglected, and scientists have been warning people for decades now, and models have been drawn up and things. But notice I don't use any I, me, my. Okay. All right. I don't need you to tell me that it's an interesting topic because I know it is already. I don't need you to tell me it's your topic because I know that already. I don't need you to tell me that you're interested in it because I know that already. Okay. It's a challenge. I'd like to see you pull it off. You can do it. Trust me. Um, so that would be the first section. And think about assumptions. Now, here's the catch. If you want to talk about yourself, you are the current researcher. Your research is the current research. So to pull yourself in, to use that would be to say, the current researcher is led to assumes that, okay, and remember, assume is a dangerous word. Here it's used okay, but you're theorizing, your hypothesis, you are making assumptions, okay? And that is a part of research paper, assumptions by the current researcher, okay? Current researcher assumes that this topic needs to be addressed further. Previous research indicates that blah, blah, blah. The current research intends to advance the topic, the problem, through gathering of snapshot of data, as well as putting together a summary of previous research that has been reviewed. Remember, you're only looking at a tiny sliver of the research that's in the past. So you don't make any bold proclamations. You don't use always. You don't use, what do they call those? Absolutes. You don't use absolutes. You don't use never, always. You don't use things like that. Okay. Um, Tamp it down a little bit. Uh, the next part of that paper of step 4 would be to review the previous research. Probably a page and a half to 3 pages of that. I don't know. But you can talk about it. Yes, it's a miniature lit review, a very miniature. Okay. It is uh, miniature lit review, just about what some of those sources in your annotated bibliography said. Why did you choose them? What was in there? And I don't want you to say, I chose that because, again, I'm asking you, but I'm saying as the researcher put it down. The research by Smith and Wesson on gun control in 2016 found that blank, okay? How does that resonate, right? Okay, so that's the other part. The third part of it will be an analysis. This is where I'd like you to take a look at some of the common disciplinary insights. For example, if you have discipline A, discipline B, even discipline C, do these connect in any way? Do they relate to each other in any way? Or are they so disparate that it's hard to connect them? It's difficult, but it could be done through innovation, thinking through it. All right, this is challenging. I realize that. Okay, but this is good. It makes you step up your game, and you're a better thinker and a better scholar, and you can do it. And I'm not gonna. Don't be afraid. I'm not gonna score you crazy like you didn't do graduate school post grad work here. All right. But I'd like you to see you start somewhere. Remember, it's research about crawling, walking, skipping, jogging, running, sprinting. So we're in the crawling stage, but there's a point where you have to do it, right? Okay, so remember, only Word docs, Times New Roman 12-point font, double line spaced, okay, paragraph indents, sections can be headed off and skipped a line or two in black, no color font anywhere, okay? Use APA citations for in-text. Use APA format for your bibliography or works cited. That means hanging paragraphs, no line skips on your bibliography. In-text citations come before the punctuation, after the quotation mark, before the punctuation, last name only, comma, year, page number, or comma, make sure you put the commas, periods. Not going to ding massively, but formatting is important. You're going to like looking at this paper when it's done, the whole thing, okay? Because what we'll get into in step 5 then is the analysis of your data from your survey, okay? And then what it means to the entire picture of the research and how that snapshot of random adults helped you to get a different picture, a different type of picture that adds to the research, okay? Did I convince you yet at 22 minutes? Okay, so that's a lot to cover in terms of writing, but enjoy it, okay? And I think that's about it. I always think of stuff after I'm done, but let's just go to Easter egg number 3. That Easter egg number 3 is step up your game. Did we use that one already? But we'll use it again. Step up your game. I don't like to delay too much. So, okay, I'm going to post this today. Enjoy. Also note that step 4, I think, is due on the 19th. Let me see how this looks here, because we only have one more module after this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to allow step 4 to be due on the 21st. Okay, so that backs it up a little bit to a week from Tuesday. That should help you out. Doesn't mean start it a week from Tuesday. Okay, and it will be available till the 26th with late penalties enforced. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Get a hold of me with questions, comments, or concerns. Forks up. Peace.